Okay, we're continuing on our sugya of Yerusha of Tzlafchad and how they yash in the Eretz Yisrael. And we get into some Ayin Hara sugyas tonight. It's always, Simin, was on the Kuf Yud Zayin and Beis, 4 lines up from the bottom. So the Simin is Larav, Tzlafchad, Yosef, Ichvil, Menashe, and Yechoshev. So it's basically three kashas that the three kashas the Gemara is going to ask on this whole Gemara, on this whole thing with the Benos Tzlafchad. And on this sugya of, well, just to review, we had yesterday a machlokes how did they give out the chalakim of Eretz Yisrael? Was it given out to anybody that left Mitzrayim, had dibs on, let's call it dibs, anybody that came out of Eretz Yisrael had dibs at least on some sort of chelek of Yerusha of Eretz Yisrael, even if they never made it into Eretz Yisrael, which was the majority of Yidden because of the Meraglim, because of the Chet of the Meraglim, or was it that people leaving Mitzrayim did not get a chelik? The people that were around went into Eretz Yisrael got a chelik. And so what do you do with the psukim that talk about people leaving Mitzrayim? So we said it's a complicated calculation where basically the people going in had the people going into Eretz Yisrael got a chelik, and then all those siblings chalakim kicked back to the parents. And then they resplit it. That's the complicated way to say it. What? That was given. We're going to get to that. So basically, the Gemaras have 6 kashas on these Gemaras. So Gemara says 3 lines over the bottom. Kuf Yud Zayin Beis. Amalei Rav Papa LaBaya. So Rav Papa had a kasha to Abaya. Bishlam l'madam l'yotzim Mitzrayim neschalka oretz. We can understand, according to the Shita, that says that based on how many people left Mitzrayim, that's how they split up Eretz Yisrael, meaning, and it had nothing to do with that they died in the mid-war and never made it, they still get a chelek, in which case their kids inherit them. It says that if there's a lot, meaning if there's a lot, they're going to get more inheritance. And if there's less, they're going to get less inheritance. All right. Meaning, if you had a guy a family, let's say that left that when they went out of Mitzrayim had a lot of people, but by the time they made it to Eretz Yisrael, which again is the majority, there was hardly any. So then, since we go with what they were when they left Mitzrayim, so those few that are left are going to get a lot bigger part of Eretz Yisrael, right? But if you had a family that had very few people leaving Mitzrayim, and then they grew, then each one's going to get a much smaller chelek, which basically sounds like this pasuk sounds like it's all based on who left Mitzrayim, not who made it to Eretz Yisrael, right? Again, so it says, so Bishlam l'madam l'yotzim Mitzrayim neschalka oretz. It's good according to the Mandam that says that when they left Mitzrayim, they split up the land. If it's the bigger the family, right? Is going to inherit. See, I don't know how to.
The second part doesn't fit.
What? Both parts don't fit. Yeah, no, it fits. It fits. If you have a large family when they left Mitzrayim, right? And now let's talk numbers. There were 10 people in the family when they left Mitzrayim, so there should be 10 chalakim. Then when they got to Eretz Yisrael, there were only 2 left. So those 2 they're going to have a bigger chelek, right? Because they inherit their family members, and lama'at is tamid lachalosay. And if there's only a little bit, right? And
these
then
were adults.
Adults, yeah.
Adults that left Egypt. Okay.
If they were, let's say, it's just the numbers again. 10. I think this is the way to crunch it. 10 people left Mitzrayim. 2 were left when they came into Eretz Yisrael. So those 2 get to split 10 people's portions, right? And if you have the other way around, 2 left Mitzrayim, and then by the time they got to Eretz Yisrael, there was 10. So then those 10 actually get less. Each one of those has to split 2 portions, because that's all that came out of Mitzrayim. So the pasuk seems to be Beferish saying that we calculate based on who left Mitzrayim. On Tamar Aleph. Elaman Domar, Kuf Yud Ches Amar Aleph. Elaman Domar L'Boy Oretz. But according to Mahalam, it says that we calculate with those that come into the land. Ma'ila Rav Taber Nachlose. How do you understand this pasuk? Whoever was around when they went into Eretz Yisrael got his chelek, finished. There shouldn't be any adjustment from them. Tomorrow says kasha. That's a kasha. Because we don't know how to say pshat. All right? Yeah. Fine. That's one. Next. It's good according to Mahalam. It says they left Mitzrayim. So we understand why the B'nai Tzlafchan were yelling. Tzlafchan literally means yelled, right? Meaning because their father Tzlafchan left Mitzrayim, he had a chelik in Eretz Yisrael, and the daughter said, "My father's not alive. He left no sons. We want his chelik." But if it's according to Mahalam, it says that it didn't go with who left Mitzrayim. It has to do with who came to Eretz Yisrael. Tzlafchan, why are they yelling? If he wasn't there should be no Yerush from Tzlafchan. Right? Another Pasha the Kasha. They're tithing that they should get their father's chelik of Eretz Yisrael. What do you mean? Your father never made it to Eretz Yisrael, so he has no chelik, right? Elamai, it must be that it goes with who was around when they left Mitzrayim, in which case Tzlafchan left Mitzrayim. Right? So the Gemara answers like the third shita that we said yesterday. Elo lechazara. It's talking about when it goes back to the people that left Mitzrayim. We said there were 3 shitas. We had the shita that it goes with who left Mitzrayim. Then we had the other shita that said it goes with who came into Eretz Yisrael. Then we had the third shita who said that it goes with both. So maybe that's what this is going. It's going with both. Velita, and it's talking about the second part. Velita b'nechsei chayfer. And they really weren't asking for tzlafcha. They were asking for chayfer. They're really going after chayfer's chelik, which chayfer was tzlafcha's father. So they wanted to get Tzlafchad's chelik from that was part of Chayfer. Right? Meaning Chayfer left Mitzrayim. He also didn't make it to Eretz Yisrael.
Why is he different?
But he had a lot of kids. He had a lot of kids who did make it to Eretz Yisrael. Right? And they got Chalakah, which then go back to Chayfer. Right? Because that's what we said. It kicks back to the ones that left Mitzrayim. Okay. And now you got to split it. So then Tzlafchan, then the nice Tzlafchan said we want a piece of that pie. Right? Okay. That's number 2. Question number 3. Bishlam l'mandam l'yotzim Mitzrayim. It's good according to the mandam that says yotzim Mitzrayim. How do the Tzavchan b'nei Yosef? That's why the b'nei Yosef.
You can make it.
Yeah.
You can compare it to World Series shares. When they vote,
it's funny.
The guys who were there at the beginning of the season, they and the guys who came after the trade deadline, and whoever has votes, they can vote how much they get.
It's funny.
Wasn't that yesterday, Domian? Didn't you say that yesterday, Tzvi?
We were talking a little bit. I was saying something different. I was saying about giving out tickets to the World Series, but this is a little different. I was thinking on my way to walking to the daf, I was actually thinking that these guys must be tzabrach and they get a lot less money because they didn't make the World Series.
Oh, it's monster money. It's monster.
Yeah.
World Series guys get $400,000-$500,000.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking thinking. So, but that's what it sounds like. Yeah. So, anyways, now I don't understand why is it calling them Bnei Yosef. I mean, we understand that it's Menashe. It's Menashe and Ephraim. Right? Tzlafchad came from Menashe. So, but this has nothing to do with Tzlafchad, anyways. But Why are they calling it Bnei Yosef? I'm not sure. I mean, we can see on a base maybe why it's calling Bnei Yosef. What it means is that Menashe, right? The Shevet Menashe grew off the charts growth. They had off the charts growth, right? So they wanted.
This is the chelik from. This is the Chatzi Menashe that was going to Eretz Yisrael, not outside Eretz Yisrael.
So we're gonna see tomorrow's daf or the next day's daf. I think it's tomorrow's daf. Maybe it's today's. I don't know. It's all a cholon. Says, yeah. So it talks about both actually. Both. Oh, it's today's daf. We'll be on my base. All right. You're very good. So it's gonna talk about both. But anyway, so they came with tainas that they were so big that they needed more land, right? So Bishon Lamandam it's a Mitzrayim. This according to Rambam says Yetz Mitzrayim Hainu Dukatzalcha B'nei Yosef. That's why the B'nei Yosef made a macho, whatever they cried out, right? Because they grew a lot. Tichsiva Yidabru B'nei Yosef, and the B'nei Yosef spoke. This we're talking about in Yeshua now, right? Meaning that Bnei Yosef said, we have such a large shevet, you're giving us the old piece of land. Right? So Mamela, we need bigger. But it makes sense. Why is he giving him an old piece of land? Because you get the land based on when you left Mitzrayim. If you got land based on how many people coming to Eretz Yisrael, then what was the complaint? They probably would have gotten a lot of land because they were very large. So Elamai, if this that the Bnei Yosef Bnei Menashe came to complain to Yeshua, must be that they gave out the land based on Mitzrayim's census, right? And if they would have taken if they would have gone with the census of going into Eretz Yisrael, then the Bnei Yosef wouldn't have had a tiny because they would have gotten a lot more land. So it must be, it's the third raya, that it must be they calculated based on leaving Mitzrayim. But according to Mandam, it says when they came into Eretz Yisrael, my katzavcha kulu. By Katzavcha, what are they yelling out? Kulu shakel. Each one of them would have gotten a chelik. Right? So the Gemara answers Mishum Tfalt. So the Gemara answers Mishum Tfalim Tahava Nafishi Lahu. No, because they had a lot of kids under the age of 20 who were not going to get land. Only people from 20 to 60 got land. So they said, well, we got all these kids growing up, and they're not getting. Even if you go with the way it was when they went into Eretz Yisrael, so these kids are not going to get it. So Mamela, that's why they were saying, this is very much a growing community, and we need more land.
The Rashbam says they were Yisomim, so they had no parents to get it from.
Yeah, the Rashbam says that there were a lot of Yisomim, right? And they were not going to get. You're saying that maybe they would have gotten it if they were. No, meaning the Rashbam is saying that they.
No, but if
they weren't Yisayim,
if they had a father, right? If they had a father, then they just would have gotten his chelik when he died.
Correct, right? So if they would have had fathers, then they would have gotten the chelik. They wouldn't get it out their own.
Right.
They would have gotten it through their father. Correct.
Yeah.
The question is if there were any other Yarshim, but that the Rashbam also discusses. Yeah. But anyways, so that's the kasha. And so the Gemara answers, no, it's talking about for the kids. So that's why they came to complain. Now the Gemara goes off on a tangent for a little bit. So Amar Abai, Shmami no. So Abai says, hear from this, there was nobody else out there who didn't get a chelik. Why? Because if you would think that there's somebody out there who didn't get a chelik, he should have cried out. Meaning, the Torah, be it in Parshas Pinchas or in Yeshua, discusses Bnei Slavchad's complaint. Then it discusses Bnei Menashe's complaint. So Abai is saying must be that there's nobody else that complained, because if they would have complained, they would have also gotten into Nach. Right? So that's what Abai is saying, which I don't clearly understand because there's two stories. There must be that everybody else was happy with their portion. Okay, but let's see. Maybe those that cried out and it helped, then that's what the pasuk writes. The tzavach the loyahani loy kasvekra, And those that cried out and it didn't help them, the pasuk didn't write.
Tomorrow,
Habanei Yosef
break
didn't.
for garbage. Friday.
Habanei Yosef. Habanei Yosef. The Bnei Yosef did not win. I don't understand the Gemara's Havamina here. So I was saying, if you're going to think that maybe those that won in their arguments, so then the pasuk writes it, but those that didn't win, the pasuk didn't write it. Bnei Yosef, the Tzavgilu, but the Bnei Yosef didn't win. They didn't get any extra land because Vinu Kra and the pasuk writes it. So that can't be what it is. So Hassam, the Gemara answers there. The reason why the Torah wrote it is Eitza Taiva Kamash Malon. It was coming to teach us an Eitza Taiva, to give us good Eitzas. That a person is supposed to be careful from an ayin hara. In a bisha, lishna bisha. That's lishna bisha is another word for lashon hara. Hara, bisha is another word for ra. Right? You should be careful from an ayin hara, and that's why the Torah brought it down. Meaning, it's possible that there were other stories of people that complained, and the Torah had no reason to bring it. That it brought Tzlavcha because Tzlavcha Taka, the Bnei Tzlavcha Taka won. Bnei Yosef, it brought it to teach us about ayin hara. Behind the Kamerlu Yeshua, and this is what is Yeshua. What it means when Yeshua said to them, said to Bnei Menashe, to Siba Yomer Aleim Yeshua, Im al Rav Ata, if Im Am Rav Ata, if you're a big nation, said an Ale Lechayara, go up to the forest. That's the literal translation, meaning get out of here and go live in secret. What does this mean? Go hide yourselves in the forest. So ayin hara won't rule over you. Right? So the Rashbam says, he's saying, I can't give you more land, but if you're don't make a spectacle out of yourselves, that you're so big, because then people are going to have a bad, they're going to think badly about you. And Mamela, you are going to be, you're going to get whacked because of it. Right? And so there's a Chazanish about this, which again, I don't remember what it says. It came up in the morning, Chabura. Right? The Chazanish has a whole way of how this, which is basically that if you get people to look at you, I don't remember the pratim. When people are looking and talking about you, then that it just causes somehow and supernatural. I don't know if supernatural is the right word. Supernaturally, it causes the good to stop. Something along those lines. Right? So that's basically it. So anyway, so that's what Yeshua was telling the Bnei Menashe. Don't flaunt it. Get out of here and go hide yourselves in the forest. On Tomer Beis. So Amrulay, they told him back. Anan Mizera de Yosef. And this is maybe why the Gemara called it Yosef. Anan Mizara de Yosef, we're Yosef's kids, the Loishalta Ba'ain Abisha. Ayin hara doesn't affect us. Which I think is maybe the source for people
Yaakov, how
saying
appropriate. Tonight is Yosef der Spizen.
Oh, is Yosef the Spizen is Yosef?
Yeah.
Very, very good. Very good, Taka. So Taka the Ayin hara shouldn't be Charlotte. So yeah, so it could be that this is the source for there are people that say if you don't believe in ayin hara, I don't know if that's the case, but they say like if you don't believe in ayin hara, then you don't have to worry about it. So I don't know. Anyways, okay, very good. So
Yeah,
Yosef
technically, this is today's daf, and Yosef is tomorrow's reason. Tonight and tomorrow, right?
Robert, which means we're doing it correct.
I mean, okay, fine.
That's what I meant. We're doing. Yes, you're right. It should have been.
Correct. Yes.
It's interesting, Taka. Does the daf go Basra the Jewish calendar date? Or is meaning, does it go from Shkia to Shkia? Are we always a day behind in the winter? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what I was saying necessarily, but
Behind in the summer also.
You should know it's very negay.
Yaakov, one second. Now we have what to bring up at the Aguda convention to discuss.
I'll tell you, I would say Ramosha Feinstein would say that it's still considered. Well, I don't know because it's actually negeya. Ramosha has a tshuva that when you have a 3-day Yom Tiv, any interest earned on that middle day, you have to give to tzedakah, because otherwise you're getting schar Shabbos. Right? Meaning, how does it work on Shabbos if you make interest? So on Shabbos, the banks go from 12 to 12, right? So your Friday night interest, you earned Friday day. And your Saturday interest, you can earn Matzah Shabbos for those few hours between end of Shabbos and 12 o'clock. So he has no problem with your interest. But when you have a 3-day Yom Tov, 2-day Yom Tov, he says either way, one is not Yom Tov. Right? So it's also fine. But a 3-day, no, Rosh Hashanah is a problem. So a 3-dayer, he says it's a problem because you have to. So you're reminding me about that. So meaning you could.
So Rosh Hashanah 3-day.
Rosh Hashanah, you have a problem. So for all those Gevirim out there that are earning tons of interest in all their money that they have in the bank, so figure it out and the compounded interest from that day, and give it out to tzedakah. Okay, whatever. Look, Aaron, look what you started. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my fault. I know.
See, there's tshuva of some sefer about also learning Hilchos Avelos.
What's wrong with you?
That's the people don't learn it.
Learning
Sometimes
Hilchos.
Yeah, like
because of ayin hara. You're talking about ayin
hara.
But
yeah. So some sefer says similar thing. It says no, I'm only because I'm makbid on these things, and if you're choshish for it, then they could come in and get you. But if you're not choshish for these things, then you don't have to be concerned about it.
But that's a little different ayin hara than this. This is
it's not ayin hara. It's more like I don't know.
Bad omen, like a bad omen type thing.
Yeah, like bad like tiftach pel, something kind of thing. But a similar idea,
That's what you said.
Fish.
We're gonna say right now. Yeah, we're going. Getting very good, Naphtali. So Naphtali is a bucky in the ayin hara. Yeah, just light a candle. That's all. Yeah. So Amrullah, back on the top of Kubiyah Chazaveh. So Amrullah, Anan Mizara to Yosef. They told him back, we're from Yosef's kids. Like Shalda Bey Aina Bisha. Ayin Hara does not Shelah on Yosef. How do we know? The Siv Ben Pyrus Yosef Ben Pyrus Ale Ayin. The son Yosef is a fine son. Ben Pyrus Ale Ayin. He's a fine person. I don't know, fine Pyrus. I don't know exactly how you touch it. Ale Ayin. To the eye. It goes up atop of the eye, meaning he's above ayin hara. That's one pshat. Right, which it says, and then they're gonna multiply like the fish, right? Just like the fish in the water. So water covers them over. And the eye can't rule over them because it doesn't see them. So too Yosef's kids ain ha'ayin sheletus b'hem. The eye, the ayin hara has.
This is very strange to me.
That's an understatement. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when he was with Potiphar, he lost 10 shvatim, right? He was supposed to have 12 shvatim also.
Right. Yeah. Again, like going back to what Avi was saying last night. What is this Medri? What is this? I'm saying, is it Pashup shot? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. He lost 10 shvatim, like.
Right. So you're saying that was an ayin hara?
Well, it's pretty strange to say somebody who's not affected by ayin hara and he should have had 12 shvatim. He had 2. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying more. I'm not.
Also, tie this into Purim with Adar being a fish.
I hear. I don't know what to tell you. You're right. I hear. Again, we're gonna do what we do with Avi Khan's. So I don't know what to do with these midrashim.
Okay, it's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, I have a dream of learning medrash. Like Shai Novak, he still does that medrash.
Yes, we learned medrash this morning instead of chumash. Me and Shai learned medrash.
Oh, very good, very good. Short beats sitting shiva for him, right? Look at that! How much Torah Taka she's excited to that. How much he gets to sit and learn, even though he really bets him is in the shiva, right? I'm just thinking that Taka. I should tell him. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah, Taka. I don't know midrashim. I don't know. I don't know how you answer midrashim with these gemaras. Face nicht.
He was trying to Purim also Adar being a fish.
There with the fish, yeah, and then also Rabbi Kiva with the fish. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Then the Gemara, before it goes back to the other kashas, the Gemara says Meraglim. It's interesting why the Gemara did this, because the Gemara, we said Simonim, that there's six kashas on the sugya of when they left Mitzrayim, and whether we go with who left Mitzrayim or who went into Eretz Yisrael, right? And now it just went off on a tangent. Now it's trying to explain the other parts of the Mishnah before it gets back to the kashas. Okay, Meraglim, Yeshua, Kalev, Natul Chalkim. But in Meraglim, we said that Yeshua and Kalev took the chelik of the rest of the Meraglim. That was a good investment, not agreeing with those Meraglim for Yeshua and Kalev, right? They got to split 10 more portions. I mean, on immediately. Amar Ulud, Amar Krav, Yeshua ben Nun, Kalev ben Yifuna, Chayum and Hanashim Mahim. They lived from those men, meaning there were 12. They were 12. Well, I don't know what they're called, Meraglim. I don't know what they were called before they became named Meraglim.
They were Nesiim.
The Nesiim. They were Nesiim, but I don't know. They were, I guess, 10 of them changed to Meraglim, I guess, right? So Yeshua and Kalev lived from all those Anashim Ahim. All right, my chayu. What does it mean they lived? Ilam chayu ma'amish. If it means that they lived, that already says we already have a different pasuk that tells us that Yeshua and Kalev were the only survivors of these Nesiim. They not only did they live, they actually lived in the chalakim of the other Nesiim, meaning the Meraglim. Fine, but then we said mislainin and vadas karach lo yailan. What?
What does that mean?
What's the problem?
They divided up all the shvatim in areas.
They got whatever chelik those Nesiim were supposed to get, the Meraglim to get.
So
went to Yeshua and Kalev.
all over Eretz amongst all 12.
Oh, I don't know how it's split. I don't know. You mean they had a little real estate all over the place?
Right,
What's so strange?
Right, they diversified. They were the first two with portfolios, Kalev and Yeshua. They had portfolios.
The part that they went to.
That's right.
Then they got a coil guy like you to run it for them. Traveled around the country.
Is that what it's?
It's true, right? How many of you own little real estate here, there, all over the place, right? Yeah. I know one Kvir, he owns, I think, the AA from some AA team in Arkansas. It's owned by a frum guy. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, that's like, maybe, I don't know, Taka. Maybe unless they split it amongst themselves. That's the least of the history that I know from tonight. Going up to the next part. So the mislainin, and those are what we call them. What do they call the complainers? And the das kairach, they didn't have a chelik at all. So yesterday we said pshat in this is that they didn't even have a chelik, meaning the Meraglim had a chelik and it was taken by Yeshua and Kalev. Yesterday we said pshat that
the Arkansas mislainin of Yaakov.
Yeah. So the here was gonna say, so when we said the mislainim didn't even get a chelik. So now we're gonna say now it's a machlokes. Vatanya, we learned that a brayso Meraglim mislainim vadas kairach, the Meraglim, the mislainim and kairach, right? The triumvirate of the beauty of Yiddishkeit after the Matan Torah, right? Those three chevra, the mislainim, the Meraglim, and the das kairach Yeshua v'Kalev natuchem. Yeshua and Kalev took it. That's a stira. We said Yeshua and Kalev. Nobody got the mislainim chelik. Where it says lekasha mar makish mislainim lemeraglim. One brisa compares the mislainim to the meraglim. Mar loy makish mislainim lemeraglim, and the other one does not compare them. Right? Meaning everybody holds that they didn't get a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. The question is, how? What do you mean they didn't get a chelik? Did it go to Yeshua and Kalev, or did it not go to Yeshua and Kalev?
250 people at least. That's
what? Yeah.
Was...
Yeah, it's a big nafkamina. The Tanya, let's see the Tanya we learned, Avinu, right, this is talking about Tzlavchad now. Avinu meis b'midbar, our father died in Midbar, zeh Tzlavchad. That's talking about Tzlavchad. V'hu lo haya b'soicha Eda, and he was not part of the Eda. We're not talking about the Eda Charedis, although you might fit this in according to some also, but the Eda Charedis, some people say, oh, the Eda, yeah, anyways, but we're trying to stay away from that. Right? They were not part of the Eda. Ze'adas Meraglim. I'm sorry, not they. He. Tzlavchad was not part of the Meraglim. Hanayodem al Hashem, that went up against Hashem, right, or teamed up against Hashem. Elu mislainin, those are mislainin. Ba'adas kairach, and adas kairach is kemashmai. So what do you see from this? Right? They're saying the B'nai Slavchad lumped all these three together. Meaning, in Mamela, he was not part of B'nai, he wasn't part of Kairach, he wasn't part of the Mislainim, and he wasn't part of the Meraglim. So Mamela, he should get. So it's mashma there, right? That all three are together. So Mar Makish Mislainim Meraglim. One compared the Mislainim to the Meraglim, meaning say that they got a chelek, it just went to Yeshua and Kalev. Umar loy Makish Mislainim Meraglim. The other one says we don't compare the Meraglim to the Mislainim to the Meraglim, and there was no chelek whatsoever. Right? And the Rashbam says the reason, the pshat is, well, either you do compare it or you don't compare it. So the Rashbam says that it's the vav. There was no vav. If there would have been a vav to sing and, then we would have compared all three together. But there's no vav, so we don't compare. Okay. Now back to the six kashas. We're up to kasha number 4. There were 4, right? These were the kashas that Rav Papa is asking Abaya about whether we split the land of Eretz Yisrael, leaving Mitzrayim or going into Eretz Yisrael. According to the Mandama that says that we compare the Islainim to Meraglim, Ichful, Yeshuv, Kalev, B'yartu l'chul Eretz Yisrael. So they're even one-upping Naphtali's kasha. Naphtali's kasha thought, Naphtali was thinking they'll get 250 people. The Gemara is saying Yeshua and Kalev pretty much would own the whole Eretz Yisrael because everybody complained at some point. Yeah, the apikorsis section of the Daf Chevra. This is one of our big apikorsis, right? Whatever. It's not apikorsis, just our hard time understanding. Everybody complained in the midbar, right? Every time the Moshe Rabbeinu turned around, somebody was complaining. So does that mean that Yeshua and Kalev pretty much owned the whole Eretz Yisrael? So Amalei, Mislaininim Sheba Adas Kairach coming in. No, he wasn't talking about anybody that complained. Complainers got part of Eretz Yisrael. The complainers by Bnei Kairach, they didn't.
Oichet may complainer.
Very good. Yeah. Yeah. And the Rashbam goes through, they were complaining, what are we going to drink? When the Gans Kalais were complaining. Yeah.
Water.
Yeah. So it's only the Bnei Kairach that had that. Fine. Okay. Kasha number 5. I think this is Kasha number 5. It's good according to the Mandama that says that the Eretz Yisrael was split up. Now I'm sorry, I'm going to read this here. I really need a history lesson of exactly how this all went down with the different portions, the different chalakim and different chavolim. Okay, I mean, I think I have a basic understanding, but I don't, the history of it, I don't know exactly what's going on. Hainu Desiv. So again, according to Madam, it says that it's going from the Yaitz Mitzrayim, and that's how they split it up. So then we understand what it says, Vayiplu Chevle Menashe Asara. There were 10 chalakim. Chevel means literally a rope, and that's what we mean. It's just another word for chalakim. Vayiplu Chevle Menashe Asara. There were 10 chalakim of Menashe, right? And it went down to the B'nai. Well, eventually some of them went to B'nai Sachar. Let's see, the Shisa Batei Avos, 6 for the Batei Avos of the Shevet, which I don't understand. I guess that's just a historical thing that there were 6 Batei Avos. Who were these Batei Avos? I don't know. What does it mean, Batei Avos? There's Menashe's kids. Is that what it is?
Rashbam sounds like, because he quotes the pasuk. It says, "Vayu livnei Menashe Neisariim l'mishpachos."
Right.
And it says,
I'm saying, but does that mean
like whatever? So yeah, it looks like the Menashe's kids that were left over.
Right, but we're not kicking it back to Menashe. We're just doing it to his. L'chayra means his 6 kids. Right.
Yeah, that sounds like Menashe. I mean, that's
yeah.
the.
I don't want to just call it. That's why we call it. But all of a sudden, we put in a new term of Batei Avos. Right. Okay. But l'chayra, that's what it is. Arba did who, and 4 of them went to Bnei Slavchot. I'm not saying, not 4 of them. An additional 4 went to Bnei Slavchot, right? Because they had Slavchod's chelik, and Slavchot was a bechor. Right? David said 2. That yesterday. What?
That's 2.
And Chefer's chelik.
The Gever's not one of the 6.
I don't think Chefer was one of the 6.
So they had 7 children.
No, I think he's further down the road. Right, here's Rachamim. This is what we're talking about. That they split it. Some were on Avril Yarden and some were in Eretz Yisrael. All right. Well, so let's see. So there was 6 of the Batei Avos, 4 that went to Tzlachot Ha'asara. That gets you 10. Elamandar Malbayaret. So that all works out if it's based on who was around when they left Mitzrayim. But according to the Mandam, it says when they came into Eretz Yisrael, Timnaya who dahava. It should be only 8 chalokim. Shisa Batei Avos, 6 for the Batei Avos, who traded who, and the 2 chalokim of the Bnei Slavchad haTimnaya. That would be 8. Why? Because Tzlavchad never made it to Eretz Yisrael. Right? So they should only be getting Chefer's chelik, not Tzlavchad, because Tzlavchad wasn't entitled, because he never made it to Eretz Yisrael.
Says this is that it goes back to the father.
Right, exactly. He's about to say. So Chefer, why is Chefer getting? He didn't make Eretz Yisrael either, because there were other kids that we said on Amman Aleph. There were other kids that did have the chelik, and that chelik kicks itself back to Chefer, and then it should be split with all the kids. So that's how you get to. It should be 8. So it must be that they split Eretz Yisrael based on who left Mitzrayim. So Gemara says answers a question with a question. But according to you, that it should be split from who left Mitzrayim. Tes havu. There should be 9, not 10. Right? Because you shouldn't get the. They shouldn't get. They shouldn't get the double. Not bechor.
Why not bechor?
I'm sorry, you're right. No, the bechor they should get.
Slavchad and Chefer. That's 3 only. That's not. Where's the 4th one? What's the 4th one? That's what it's asking.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Right. So it's still only have 9. Elamai is the chalmei. What are you going to say? Chad. Now we get into another history thing. What do you have to say? Chad achad da abba havalu. There must have been a Tzlavchad must have had a brother, right? And Memela, and he also died without kids. Well, not also. Tzlavchad died with no boys. He died without kids. So Memela, they're going to yarshin his chelik too. So then it goes. Well, Gemara says, okay. So if you have to say that there was one uncle, so let's just say there were 2 uncles that left Mitzrayim and died without kids.
So why is Tzlachot getting it?
Because there's nobody else to yash.
There were no other uncles?
I guess not.
Menashe had 6.
I don't think this is from Menashe. I think this is the next level. Again, I what?
No, we don't know how many brothers he had.
Right, that was the next kasha. So
we
now
know
we're just
the lineage back to Adam, but we don't know. We don't know this. We don't know whether he had one uncle, 1 brother, or 2 brothers.
Yeah. So
why would we know that?
We know everything. We think we know everything else. No. Why would we not know it?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Whoever's in the Gemara, you know everything about him. That's what you're saying.
You're not asking me if I know, but the Gemara does. Yeah.
I'm talking about the Gemara. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
you know anything of it. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Makes you happy.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I think listen. I think that I don't know. I think the Gemara is saying, well, you want to say you must be, you're gonna have to say it's an uncle. So you're saying 1 uncle, say 2 uncles. I don't know if the Gemara really meant that there's 2 uncles. The Gemara is just saying, however, whichever way you want to answer it this way, I'm gonna answer it with also.
I'm saying we're trying to back into the pshat. So if you want to say 1 uncle, say 2 uncles.
Correct. That's the way I understand it, but I have no idea if that's the right. Yeah, but that's he says. Let's assume.
Yeah, but for sake of clarity, okay.
I'm just saying.
Because
If they're gonna assume, we can assume.
That's just the way to crunch the numbers.
Right.
The arts goes on to crunch the numbers. Yeah, okay. Whatever it is. The Tanya, now now we're gonna have bring it. No, you see here, David, the Gemara is gonna try and prove that they were uncles based on the psukim. The Tanya nosan titin lahem. Right, he said you should give to them. That's a double lashon. Zu nachla savian. That's the nachla of their father. The Saif achi avian, and amongst the brothers of the father, zu nachla savi avian. That's the nachla of the grandfather who was chayfer. Va'avartas nachla savian lahen. We're gonna take and move over their father's inheritance to them. That's the bechor. Right? So Memela was saying there's all these extras. Nasan Titin is telling us that there was an uncle there. They took their father's brother's chelik. Shenemar Nasan Titin. He says Nasan Titin. So I don't know what's the machlokes here exactly. Right? Meaning they're both saying that they yarshin the uncle. Right? So what it means is that the Tanakama is not darshaning Nasan Titin about that chelik from the uncle, because that's the way that's the way the Torah talks. Right? Meaning that's the standard machlokes. Whether we say Nasan Titin is what's in Lashon Bnei Adam. Yes, that's Lashon Bnei Adam. Right? And then you're gonna have, but basically they're saying the same thing. It's just a matter of how they learn it. So it says, and the one the mandamar that says that Tetaka was two uncles, that he learns it out from achuzas nachla, right? From the extra word nachla. So then that's what it will tell us, that there was another uncle there. Okay. Okay, so that's kasha number 5 that we answered up, that there must have been uncles. Okay. Last kasha. What are we talking about? Who's included in the cheshbon of who gets a chelik? If we're talking about kids, tuvahava, then there's a whole lot more than 10. Right? But the others kachashiv, and if it's talking about but the others shisahava, like we said, there's only 6. Right? Here the Rashbam says that Benois, if that Beis Av is Chefer was a Beis Av, Naftali.
What?
I don't know. It makes a whole. It says the bottom line of Rashbam says that Chefer was one of the Beis Avs.
Yeah, I looked it up last night. It was.
I hear. Okay, so then I all right. I'm not sure then. Okay, but anyway, so the Gemara is saying
6. It should be. I have to count it. Make sure it's 7.
it's 6 plus 2 uncles.
Well,
or one uncle.
Right.
Yeah.
See
so Gemara is saying, so what are we talking about? If we're counting people under 20, there's a lot more than 10. And if we're just counting Batei Avos, so then it's 6. On Tomar Aleph. So Gemara says, Lo'ilam Batei Avos Kachasha. Really, we're talking about the Batei Avos. But Kamash Malan, the B'nai Slacha, not to Chelik B'chayra. The Chiddush is that they took an extra Chelik for the B'char. Alma, Eretz Yisrael Muchzekesi. So what do you see? That Eretz Yisrael is considered to have a chazaka from when people left Mitzrayim. Meaning, we had this yesterday, we had it last week or 2 weeks ago. A Bechor only gets double of cash equivalent, not cash, but what's the word? Liquid.
I think you said liquid, but I don't know if liquid is a good word either.
Right, you're right. Here it's certainly not a good word
because no, it's not, because I think like property is not considered liquid, but you get property. Right?
We don't use the term metaltalin.
Yeah, it's not really metaltalin because here we're talking about land. We're talking about land, meaning it has to be.
It's available.
It's available.
Yeah, it has to be. It
tangible.
Has to be right.
It's not accounts receivable. That's
right. Exactly. It's not rights coming to the father. It's what he owns now.
He has, meaning it's in. He's got the documents.
Right.
It's his or something like that. So it must be that we're saying that Eretz Yisrael's muchzekes he. meaning it's muhsik that it belongs to each person who left Mitzrayim. Because if it didn't, then they wouldn't be able to get a double chaylik. Because meaning if it still had to be collected from, meaning the people from Mitzrayim were entitled to get the field, but they still had to give in their cards, their ID cards or whatever to get the land, then they shouldn't get double chaylik because that's double chaylik.
They had to fight 1,000,000 goyim still. Like, what is it talking about? That's considered owned because Yeshua and Moshe Rabbeinu decided that they owned it. They had to go through fighting 1,000,000 goyim.
Doesn't Gemara say since Hashem said it's considered muhsak, we had that Gemara, so Hashem was going to give it to us?
Very good. Very good.
I know you're not going to like that answer, but
no, but meaning it was muhsak based on when they conquer the land. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, because their whole schus to the land only manifests itself after they were only able to get it after they conquered everything. So I don't think the whole conversation starts.
It's not
right?
a prospective asset. What's it called? It's not considered a prospective asset.
Right.
That's what the article note says.
Anyways, I don't know. I'm saying whatever the proof is that it's muhsik from when you left Mitzrayim. That's why they can yashin. Fine. Omar Mar. Just one last Gemara here. Omar Mar. Bonim notul b'schus. We said yesterday's daf that the sons will take. They took from their grandfather. They got a Yerusha. The sons of the Mislainin and the grandsons. I'm sorry. They took b'schus avi aviem. Their father's fathers, or their mother's fathers. Right? That's what they got. They got a Yerusha. Vatani b'schus atzmon. But it says they were to get it from themselves. Right? So we have a stirum brises. So it says, like Kasha, Hakeman Domer Yoytim Mitzrayim. One is talking about the Mandom that says Yoytim Mitzrayim, since they didn't leave Mitzrayim because they were born later. So Mamela, they collected their chelik in Eretz Yisrael based on their grandfathers. And the other man says Bayaret. So the kids, just because their fathers were bad people, doesn't mean the kids shouldn't get a chelik. And Vibayisem or a different shot, Havahala Bayaret. They're both talking about that. Go through the sheet as a commentary. It's Yisrael like Kasha Hodahava Ben Esrim. One is talking about where they were already 20 years old. So since they were 20 years old, and when they're 20 years old, they go to Eretz Yisrael, so then they get a chelik. And the first brisa that says that they got it because the grandparents, then they got it when they were less than 20 years old.
Birthday was the next day.
What?
The guy's birthday turned 20 the next day.
What?
So I feel bad for the people's birthday was the next day.
Right. Here. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop over there.